Chapter 1. The First Theft. Detective Sarah Chen arrived at the Millbrook Museum at exactly 7:15 in the morning. The director, a nervous man named Walter Price, was waiting at the entrance. "Thank you for coming so quickly," he said, his hands trembling. "I still can't believe it happened. The Diamond of Marseille is gone." Sarah followed him through the grand hallways. The museum was old, built in 1892, and filled with priceless artifacts from around the world. Security cameras watched every corner. Guards patrolled every hour. "Tell me exactly what happened," Sarah said. The alarm went off at 3:47 a.m. The guards rushed to the jewelry wing. But when they arrived, everything looked normal. The display case was locked. The sensors showed no disturbance. It wasn't until morning that we noticed the diamond was missing. Sarah examined the case carefully. It was made of reinforced glass, 3 inches thick. The lock required 2 keys, held by 2 different people. The pressure sensors underneath would trigger if anything was removed. "Who has the keys?" she asked. "Only myself and our head of security, Margaret Holmes. We've both worked here for over 20 years. Sarah looked at the empty velvet cushion where the diamond once sat. Something wasn't right. This wasn't an ordinary theft. It was impossible. "I'll need to speak with everyone who worked last night," she said. "And I want all the security footage from the past week." As she left the museum, Sarah had a strange feeling. The answer was here, hiding in plain sight. She just needed to find the right key to unlock it. Chapter 2. Suspects. Sarah spent the next 3 days interviewing staff and reviewing footage. Nothing seemed unusual. The guards were reliable. The cameras showed empty hallways. The locks were never touched. On the 4th day, she discovered something interesting. 3 months ago, the museum had hired a new cleaning company. The old company had worked there for 15 years without any problems. "Why did you change?" Sarah asked Walter. "Budget cuts. The new company was cheaper." He paused. "You don't think?" "I need their employee records." The cleaning crew consisted of 5 people. 4 had worked for the company for years. But one name stood out: Michael Torres, hired just 2 months ago. His background check was clean, but something felt wrong. Sarah visited the cleaning company's office. The manager, a cheerful woman named Betty, was happy to help. "Michael? Oh, he's wonderful. Very quiet, very thorough. He always volunteers for the museum shifts. Does he have any special skills?" Betty laughed. "He used to be a locksmith, actually. Said he wanted a simpler life now." A locksmith? Sarah's heart beat faster. She asked for Michael's address and drove across town to a small apartment building. No one answered when she knocked. The neighbor, an elderly woman, peeked through her door. "Are you looking for Michael? He left yesterday with a big suitcase. Said he was going on vacation." Sarah immediately called her team. "Put out an alert for Michael Torres and contact the airports." But deep down, she knew it wouldn't be that simple. A thief this clever wouldn't make such an obvious mistake. There had to be more to the story. Chapter 3. The Pattern. 2 weeks later, another theft occurred. This time, a rare painting disappeared from a private collector's mansion. The security system had been state-of-the-art. The doors and windows remained locked. The painting simply vanished. Sarah studied the case files side by side. Both locations used the same security company. Both had recently hired new cleaning staff through the same agency. And both thefts happened during the night shift change, when attention was divided. He's not working alone, Sarah realized. This is a team. She returned to the museum and walked through every room again. This time, she paid attention to the air vents. They were small, too small for a person, but not too small for a drone. She called in a tech expert, young Officer James Wright, who was known for his knowledge of gadgets. Could a drone do this? She asked. A specialized one, maybe, James said, examining the vents. It would need to be very small, very quiet, and someone would need to control it from nearby. How nearby? Within 100 feet, probably, maybe from a van outside. Sarah pulled up the traffic camera footage from the night of the theft. At 3:45 a.m., a white delivery van had parked behind the museum. It left at 4:30. The company name on the side didn't exist. "Got you," Sarah whispered. But finding the van was only the beginning. She needed to find the team, recover the stolen items, and prove how they did it. The pieces were coming together, but the puzzle was far from complete. Chapter 4. The Trap. Sarah had a plan. She convinced the city's wealthiest collector, Regina Blackwood, to announce a new acquisition, the Star of India, one of the world's largest sapphires. The announcement made headlines everywhere. But the sapphire on display would be a fake. The real one stayed locked in a bank vault. Sarah's team hid cameras throughout the mansion and waited. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. Then the cleaning company received a request. Regina Blackwood needed their services for a special event. Sarah watched as a new employee arrived with the cleaning crew. He was tall, thin, and moved with unusual grace. His name tag said David, but Sarah recognized his walk from the security footage. Michael Torres had returned. That night, Sarah and her team surrounded the mansion. They watched the van park 2 blocks away. They tracked the signal as a tiny drone flew through the ventilation system. At exactly 3:47 a.m., the drone reached the display case. A mechanical arm extended, ready to grab the sapphire. "Now," Sarah commanded. The lights blazed on. Police rushed in from every door. The drone crashed to the floor as its operator tried to flee. Michael Torres was arrested in the garden, trying to climb over the wall. In the van, they found his partner, a woman named Elena Cruz, along with thousands of dollars in equipment. But the real surprise came later. When Sarah searched their hideout, she found something unexpected: the Diamond of Marseille, the painting, and a dozen other items reported stolen across the country. Chapter 5. Justice. The interrogation room was cold and quiet. Michael Torres sat across from Sarah, his confidence finally broken. "How long have you been doing this?" Sarah asked. 5 years, he admitted. "Elena and I met in college. She studied robotics. I learned locks. We made a perfect team." "Why did you do it? For money?" Michael laughed bitterly. "At first. But then it became a game. We wanted to prove that no security system was perfect. We wanted to show that we were smarter than everyone. You ruined lives. People lost treasures that meant everything to them." "They were just rich people with too much stuff," Michael said. but his voice wavered. I never thought about it that way before. The trial lasted 3 months. Michael and Elena received 15 years each. The stolen items were returned to their owners. The museum got its diamond back, and Walter Price cried with joy. Sarah stood outside the courthouse after the verdict, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and gold. Officer Wright approached her with 2 cups of coffee. Great work, Detective. You solved the impossible case. Sarah smiled and took the coffee. There's no such thing as impossible. Every lock has a key. Every mystery has an answer. You just have to be patient enough to find it. She thought about Michael's words. He had been clever, maybe even brilliant, but he had used his gifts for the wrong reasons. In the end, that was his real crime. As Sarah walked to her car, her phone buzzed. A new case, a new puzzle. She smiled and answered the call.